Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
On behalf of Mayor Anthony Copeland, we would like to welcome you to today's Veterans Day ceremony here inside Heritage Hall. My name is Anthony Cerna, Fire Chief here in the City of Chicago. It's my pleasure to start this program. At this time, I want to inform you we are doing this inside due to the cold weather outside. We will be raising the flag at this time. On the outside of the building, the flag is being raised right now at 11 a.m. at the start of our ceremony. Following along in our program, we're going to have our opening prayer, and that is going to be from Fred Lemos from Post 508.
Will everybody please stand and remove your hats? On Veterans Day, we honor all who answered to a call of service, soldiers young and old, fought for freedom, brave and bold. Some have lived while others died. All of them deserve our pride. We're proud of all the soldiers who kept thinking of red, white, and blue. They fought for us and our rights. They fought through many days and nights. And though we may not know each name, we thank all veterans just the same. Thank you.
Now we will have the posting of the colors from Post 369 and Post 508.
Stripers, attention. Forward, march. Flag bearer, halt. Prepare to post colors, forward, march. Post colors. Present arms. 2. Stripers, about face. Forward, march. May be seated.
We will now have the national anthem as sung by Cherie Angel Williams.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Now we will have remarks from Ernie Komasinski, Northern Vice Commander.
Good morning. My name is Ernie Komasinski. I'm the American Legion Northern Vice Commander for the state of Indiana. And if anybody was wondering, there are two of us Vice Commanders that represent the American Legion and the State Commander in the northern half of the state. So we keep pretty busy traveling around, especially around the holidays. We in the United States have created a large number of special days to recognize special people, events, and times. Examples are Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, St. Patrick's Day, and even Halloween. Some of those days are recognized by a few, and others are recognized by a large majority. Of those special days, we have created about 10 holidays. But many people today don't even think about the significance or the meaning of most holidays. They just use holidays as their time off to do their thing. Organizations such as stores use holidays to have big sales and draw customers in all hours of the night. I guess our activities are a product of the society we live in today. We're always on the go, having to get things done, and even though we have all of these time-saving pieces of equipment, there's still never enough time. 3 of the 10 holidays were created to recognize in some way the men and women who contributed at least a little to protect our freedoms that we all enjoy today. Those are Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Veterans Day. How then do we recognize these people who gave us our freedom? On Memorial Day, most people usually use the day to relax, barbecue, and get a start on the summertime chores. On the 4th of July, some go to watch a parade and light off fireworks, and again they barbecue. Most people only recognize the veterans on the 4th of July by standing and clapping when they march by in parades. As most of you know, many companies do not recognize Veterans Day at all. Some only add it to their holiday schedule as another day off. I'm telling you this not with any bitterness or criticizing anyone, because I didn't give these holidays much thought either until I got older. Yes, I was born in America. I expected to have a nice place to live, to go to church, to hang out with my friends. I never had to worry about anything. I was safe, protected, and cared for. I knew when I went home in the evening after playing baseball, Mom would be cooking a nice supper. Hopefully not liver. I had a nice soft bed, TV, and all the other things we all had. I believe that I was as typical as anyone if they would truly admit to it. When I got older, I had the opportunity to serve my country. Then my life changed. Things had a new meaning. I spent the year in Vietnam surviving and thinking about all I had left behind. All the freedoms, conveniences, and benefits we all enjoy just being lucky enough to be born here. Our non-working related conversations usually centered on things we missed back in the good old USA. the things most people take for granted and don't even think about when we came home to, which most people don't even think about. When we came home to the United States, every one of us on the plane knelt down and kissed the ground. Right there on the runway, as soon as we got off the plane. I still see my fellow servicemen kneeling down in thanksgiving, one by one, after touching U.S. soil. I came back and began to see things in a new light. Now, these holidays have taken on a new meaning. I still barbecue and get together with my friends, but I do it after I pay my respects to those who sacrificed so much for us all. What is a veteran? Why should anyone recognize a veteran? Why a special day? Most veterans are not John Wayne or Rambo or many of the others portrayed in the movies. Some were drafted, some enlisted, some are men, some are women. Some served overseas, some served in the United States. Some were close to combat action, some were behind the scenes supporting them. Some veterans had it a lot worse than I did. I had one GI friend who claimed that he protected me while I was in the United States. He claimed he spent the entire year protecting southwest Oklahoma from attack. Must done a good job because it's still there. All veterans have something in common. They gave up something for their country. Their lives were interrupted for months or even years. They had to say goodbye to their wives, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, and friends. Some may have had a good job or attended school or other significant plans. Suddenly their lives are changed. Everything is changed. You are taken from your families, your surroundings, and put together with a bunch of other strangers to form a group known as GIs. You go to sleep at night wondering what happened, hoping you can still go back to your comfortable surroundings. Now, you just can't leave to go out partying with the boys. Your next date with your girlfriend is not Friday. It's probably a couple of months away. If you get transferred to another country, you may see her, may not see her for a year or more. Will she wait? How will things change in a year or more? If you have children, what will they look like in a year? What will you miss? Can you go back home after a year or more and pick up where things left off? Questions and more questions, but no answers. If anyone is lucky enough to be sent over to another country, they will soon begin to appreciate the United States. All the freedoms, conveniences, and benefits we enjoy by just being lucky enough to be born here or relocated from another country. Do me a favor. And now just take a moment, close your eyes, and not think about your problems, not about your financial situation, not what is owed to you, but just what you have and how lucky you are. How blessed you are to be living in the good old USA. And when you think about all these great things you have, and things you have not taken time to think about, probably your entire life, things you take for granted, thank a veteran. Remember, we are the land of the free because of the brave. Monday, many people, mostly veterans, will gather at various sites at the 11th hour, on the 11th day, in the 11th month, to pay tribute and honor all veterans of all wars. It is fitting that we have this ceremony at this time. In 1918, at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, guns fell silent, signaling the end of World War I. The war to end all wars. The world rejoiced and celebrated. But as we know, World War I was not the war to end all wars. There came World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Soldiers were being killed, wounded, and tortured by the enemy. At home, people had their fill after 2 wars. Korea became known as the Forgotten War for Korean vets. Many said it wasn't really a war. It was just a conflict. Newsflash for those. Many young men died and were severely wounded in that war. Many of those who came back were never the same. But Vietnam vets received the worst. Just like the Korean vets, we did not come back as heroes like those previous GIs. The Vietnam vets heard about all the protesting, heard about all the criticisms, and as a result, many hid the fact that they served. We didn't wear Vietnam veteran caps or shirts. We didn't want to be hassled. We came back and quietly tried to resume our lives, avoiding any connection to the war. The Vietnam vets then were the first to take measures to ensure that our younger brothers in arms would not be treated as we were. We were there when they came home. We were there when those who died deserved the next escort for their final trip. We swore they would never be forgotten. It took the 9/11 tragedy to awaken our country's spirit and patriotism. November 11th was originally known as Armistice Day. In 1954, the name was changed to Veterans Day to appropriately honor veterans of all U.S. wars. Please take a moment and remember a veteran. Those who have gone before us and are marching to a higher commander. Those who are bedridden or disabled. Those who still carry the scars of war with them day in and day out. Those who had to work and couldn't be here. And those of you who are here with us today. All the extraordinary men and women who have sacrificed much for the freedom we all enjoy today. I urge you to keep our veterans in their prayers today and every day. And let them know in some small way that their contributions are surely appreciated. A simple thank you will be enough. Will all veterans in the audience please stand and be recognized? I thank you for your service. I hope today or tomorrow you will all hear more heartfelt thank yous. And to my fellow brothers who served in Vietnam, welcome home, brothers. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Commander Komasinski. Very, very moving words. We can welcome some of the people that are overflow in the hallway. You can come on in into the ceremony. I'd just like to take this opportunity to recognize some of our audience members, our members of our elected officials, our city council members that are here. If we can give them a round of applause. Our city council members. Also, our firefighters, the City of Chicago firefighters and police officers that are veterans. If we can give them a round of applause. Moving along on our program, our remarks are next from our Chief of the Chicago Police Department, Hector Rosario.
Good morning. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy day to be here with us in recognition and honor of all those who paid the ultimate sacrifice and service to this great nation of ours. I'd like to take a moment just and recognize all those among us who have served or currently serving, as well as those that are here who have lost a loved one in the service. We are humbled by your sacrifices, as we know they are great, and we commend the demonstrations of courage and strength that you have no doubt shown throughout the most difficult times. More than 1.1 million men and women have died in wartime throughout the span of our nation's history. To put that in perspective, that's more than the populations of San Francisco, Boston, Seattle, or Washington, D.C. In fact, more people were killed in World War II alone than currently living in New Orleans. This, of course, does not include, or begin to include, or take into account, those who were wounded or were missing. That number is closer to 2.8 million, just slightly larger than the city of Chicago. These numbers should truly humble us, as they represent people, individuals who are brothers, husbands, mothers, sisters, and friends. Those are people woven into the fabric of communities across the nation. Being in law enforcement, I can relate to the moment when you send your loved one off out the door, watch them disappear from your line of sight, not knowing if it may very well be the last time you'll tell them that you love them, hug them, or see them again. But this has been a reality for many families in this country, just as the middle of the night phone calls and the chaplain standing at the door of the next of kin to tell them that their loved one has been killed. It is all too easy for us who have never suffered such losses to see past the holes that were left in the families and our communities. Veterans Day is a chance to reconnect to the inception of our nation's countless freedoms. Our way of life has been shaped and made possible by those who have served and those who have lost. But there are many ways we can help our fallen, as well as our injured and ill veterans in your mind and in your heart throughout the year. Organizations like the Disabled American Veterans offer countless ways to get back to those who have endured the physical, psychological, and emotional wounds of war. It could be driving a veteran to a medical appointment, befriending a veteran that lives in the community. Just please reach out and find ways to engage and be part of the effort to care for those who have served. Working together to ensure that the sacrifices made by our nation's finest and bravest never go unappreciated and their memories are never forgotten. I thank you all for joining in today's tribute, and I hope you keep our military men and women and the sacrifices they made close to your heart today and every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Rosario. At this time, we will be heading outside the door to your left for our 3-volley salute. That 3-volley salute is from Post 369 and Post 508.
Attention. Forearm. Safety's off. Ready, aim, fire! Ready, aim, fire! Ready, aim, fire! Bugler, point that. Present, honor.
Firefighters, is that everyone? Everyone's inside? No, we still have some more coming up. Following along on the program, the wreath presentation, what we're going to do, since we're inside, the wreath presentation will be at the end. If anybody would like to walk with Post 369 and Post 508 to make the wreath presentation, which is outside at the gazebo on the corner there, you're more than welcome to do that. Once again, the wreath presentation will take place after our closing prayer. Our closing prayer will be given by Building Department Director James Portalatin.
Good afternoon. I'm really grateful for the words that were spoken today. They really hit home. You started analyzing all the things that we are privileged to have. Both my father and my two brothers my father served and my two brothers are currently serving in the Army. One of them will be going overseas in a few months. I have seen firsthand the sacrifices that they have to make going away from their families and the losses that they have seen. And we truly need to pray for our veterans. Yes. So if you could stand up and rise with me, let's pray for them. We thank you all who are here, who have served. Let us close our eyes. Father, we just come before your presence. If there is a prayer that we want you to hear, it's this prayer. Our veterans have sacrificed much. Some of them have even lost their lives for our freedoms, for what we have, the privilege that we have. And today we want to pray for our veterans, those who serve and those who are serving. May you protect our men and women who sacrifice so much for us. Be with them wherever they're at, stationed. When they go overseas, be with them. Protect their families here. And Lord, those who are here gathered, who have served, I ask you to bless them. You know, if they are struggling with anything, I pray, may you bless them, may you help them with their situation. Those who have health issues and situations, be there as well. I pray for each one. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, James. One quick announcement. If anyone is interested in viewing, I believe Mandy Gomez, a photographer here in the city of Chicago, dropped off a picture, and it's there on the wall where our refreshments are. It's a picture of all Vietnam veterans, I believe, Vietnam veterans that made the ultimate sacrifice. And these are East Chicago Vietnam veterans? Correct. That's a picture that's on the wall right there of all East Chicago Vietnam veterans that made the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you to Mandy Gomez for bringing that. That is the conclusion of our program, except for the wreath presentation. I believe that if anyone would like to join Post 369 and Post 508, they will be making the wreath presentation out on the memorial that's at the corner of the park. Thank you all for being here.
God bless you.
Please attention. Flag bearers, prepare to cover colors, forward march. Present arms. 2, retreat colors. Left face, forward march. That concludes the ceremony.
Thank you very much.